all eyes won't be on the Saints this season. They have no primetime games. They get to do their work. Nick, he said something that I really liked. They get to do their work in the shadows. They get to
Yeah.
go undercover and try to build themselves up before they walk out. So kind of does that help or hurt them that there is no primetime games? Should they be offended by that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little offended, but I don't have the same take as most of the fans I heard and saw on Twitter, which is either some of it felt a little like stomping on the Saints' grave, some of it felt like, what a slap in the face. Oh, this shows how far this team has fallen. They're finally doing what I thought most of the fans wanted them to do. And look, I haven't been there for 3 or 4 years, and I'll give all the fans who have been on this track for 3 or 4 years, like ever since Sean Payton and Drew Brees left, tear it down, rebuild. I didn't get there until this year. I did go into this offseason saying, hey, just eat the cost of cutting Derek Carr, catch up on the salary cap, make all your draft picks. But the point is, whether you've wanted this for 3 years or whether you finally just wanted this now, this is what it looks like. It's lousy quarterback. It's unproven quarterback. It's lousy team. It's me and Brandon are talking about they're going to win 4 or 5 games. Nobody wants to see you in prime time. You're going to go into Buffalo in week 4 and you're going to get clobbered. Like that's what resetting, rebuilding, tearing it down looks like. So either embrace it or don't. But like that's what we're finally getting. I just compared them to the Panthers of last year. That's the reality for the Saints. So if you have been, Saints need to reset. Saints need to start over. Get rid of Derek Carr. Draft a quarterback. Stop paying all these old guys in free agency. Then be prepared for it to be awful to watch for a little while, because that's what needs to happen. You can't do this plan and press fast forward at the same time. You need to be prepared to be playing Sundays at noon and hoping to beat the Patriots at home, because it's not going to be pretty. If they were on a Monday night game in Kansas City this year, I would tell you to see, what's on CBS on Monday night.
Yeah, no, for sure. No question about it. And I think that's important. Go do your work in the shadows. Go take a step outside. Like, you tell a little kid, take a step outside, catch a breath, and then come back in when you're ready to be a part of it, because you don't want to be known as a national embarrassment. You don't want to be known as the team where, oh, we got them on a schedule, easy dub, in a primetime game. You don't want to be the game where people are checked out on. If you say there's a Thursday night game and I got to buy whatever streaming service, not even just a Thursday, but one of these random games that they just put together on the schedule. I saw something the other day where to watch every NFL game, you need about 10 streaming services this year to be able to do it. You don't want to be the team where you go buy a streaming service for 3 hours, watch the game, and then it's a blowout. Nobody's trying to see that. Nobody's trying to be a part of that. But you heard people like Colin Saunders yesterday on Twitter. Bink was talking about no primetime games. What is that all about? So I don't know. There's some people that feel like it
is a slap in the face. Look, if you're Colin Saunders, I get it. And that's what we've talked about players checking out too. I mean, when I mentioned Alvin and DeMario and Tyron and Cam, no 30-year-old multi all-pro Pro Bowl player wants to go through this. Like I said, I'm not even sure the fans really want to go through it. Easier said than done, but it's a lot easier if you can be like, I'll check back in a couple of years. Yeah. If you have to go through this, it's going to stink. It's going to stink.
Now, Colin Saunders, Monday Night Football last year was...
I know, both of them.
It was one of his most famous plays in the Green Bay game. Yeah, no, he thrives in Monday Night Football. So, I don't know, but, something I thought about when I saw that there was no primetime games, I said, taking the money out of it, man, what a time to have Kirk Cousins on your team, because you could guarantee some wins. If he doesn't have to go on primetime, he can make it happen, because that's, he's known for being able to not show up in primetime. So that's something.
No, look, it's good for a team. It's bad for a team to be in this state, but it's definitely good for a team to play noon every Sunday. I mean, it really is. Now, look, your juices get flowing. You want to be hosting a primetime game. I mean, we don't have to tell the people watching this show. Saints at home in primetime from 2009 to 2020 or whatever. It was money. It was money.
You taking off of work early for that? They having black and gold at the school. They
would light teams up when they did right. The other teams were the teams that were like, man, I wish we were playing Sunday at noon.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's it's an undescribable feeling just being down here at home game at the Dome in prime time. It just feels different. The atmosphere is different. But hey, I'm a fan of letting the Saints go to the back, collect themselves, get themselves together, and then when they pop out next season,
Yeah.
in better shape, people are like, oh, well, where did this come from? Oh, because without this team in the national spotlight, people undercut them, undervalue them. They're not one of the big top market teams. But if you're able to go back there, get yourself together, come out next year fighting with both fists on fire, that's positive. I think
I,
that's
I,
positive work.
I just looked up another team that I was remembering. Dan Campbell, who we know well in
Yeah,
Detroit. What do you think? What week did he get his first win? In 2021. What week?
probably 15.
12, 13, week 13, 12th game. So they were 1-10-1, but they had two 19-17 losses early on. Then they had the 16-16 tie at Pittsburgh, almost got it. Then a 13-10 loss. Then a 16-14 loss. Remember, he was wearing emotion on his sleeve. He was balling after the guys are fighting so hard. And then they won 3 of their last 6 games. So they're about 500 the second half of the season. And then the next year was a grind too. They were a lot more competitive, but they started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1-6 the next season
Yeah.
with some close losses. But then they went on the tear. They finished 9-8. I mean, that 2-year plan, like starting, what did I say, 1-10-1, and then starting 1-6. But by the end of it, they were 9-8 in their second year, and everybody's like, "This is the team." I mean, that's honestly what you have to hope for, and you have to have the patience to watch happen, and that's the best case scenario. It really is. It's not. I mean, look, we covered the Saints. Well, we were all around the Saints in 06, where they went from 3-13 to the NFC Championship game. Those stories are great too, and that was Sean Payton and Drew Brees' first year.
Right.
But I mean, look, we can't expect it. Now, look, maybe this team's going to be competitive. I'd like to see them be like the 2022 Lions, where they're fighting, they're giving teams everything they got. A couple close losses here, but then they start to pull some out. But win 7-8 games and they're off and running. I'm not saying that's impossible. Half the games in the NFL are 1-score games, so it's not impossible. It doesn't mean they have to start 1-7. You just got to be prepared for it to be their reality.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for it for sure, because I'm sure even transitioning to basketball, the Detroit Pistons, they were ready to be bad this year. They just, switched
Yeah.
everything. They had a terrible record last year. Now they're in the playoffs. So if you're ahead of schedule, it's always a positive. But just even talking about this, thinking about how bad it can be and how good it could be. Last year, I think the expectations were kind of weird towards the end. Nobody really was expecting a blowout, but they weren't expecting the Saints to go in and dominate Green Bay in the cold weather like that. But I was just thinking about some of the premium primetime games that the Saints have had, thinking about those 2 Thanksgiving games. The one where Buffalo came down here, took them behind the shed. That was, I don't want to see
over the dome.
Yeah.
Took over the dome.
Don't.
That was when Sean Payton was the coach of this team, by the way, and people
right.
do not remember that.
That's right. That's right. When they took him behind the shed, and then on the inverse of that, against the Falcons, when I think it was Shy Tuttle, like Stephon Matt Ryan out of the universe. Like it just is the dichotomy between the two highs and lows. But just even thinking, you think about Hurricane Katrina, the anniversary of that is coming up, and then next year you'll have the anniversary of the Monday Night Football game with the Gleason play. What are some of those, like, just off the top of your head, top 5 primetime games that the Saints have had over the years?
And it felt like every time Drew Brees broke one of those records was in prime time. I mean, remember?
Yeah, against Washington.
Was it Traquan Smith that kept catching all those record-setting balls? There was the Chargers game. It's funny, a lot of these happened in bad years where the records came. Was it 2012 where he did that consecutive games with a touchdown record, and they brought in the Hall of Fame and the white gloves. But no, I mean, I think back to the heyday, 09, 11, 09, the Patriots coming into the Dome, and they just kind of blew them out. 11, they were, I think Breeze set the all-time single-season passing record, but he did it by throwing for like 400 in week 16 at home against the Falcons, because they were going on the road in week 17, and he got to sit out. I remember back when worked at ESPN, I mean, I had my graphic put together because I wrote this post every time they were in prime time, and it was a lot. It was like they've now won 16 straight primetime games. I mean, it was and by an average of 21 points a game. I mean, it was unbelievable what they did to teams.
No, I'm telling you, man. Growing up down here, that used to mean something. They used to have black and gold day at the school where you could wear, your jersey. I used to have this little Reggie Bush, Pierre Thomas jersey I used to put on. They would give you lighter homework.
Wait,
all those.
those are two separate jerseys, or that was like a combo jersey?
It's two separate jerseys.
Oh, that would have been pretty cool to like have the Reggie and Pierre. That you would have been ahead of your time.
I outgrew the Reggie side to move on to the Pierre. Because
real quick, let's take a dark turn here.
Oh man,
what you think about those dreaded Falcons getting 5 primetime games? Don't they feel like reminds me of the Jets being on my TV every single week last year?
Exactly.
Aren't they anointing them a little early?
Yeah, way too early, and I think
they might win this division this year. And I'm not saying they won't. They're probably my pick. But 5 primetime games, it's like make them earn it first. Come
exactly.
On.
Put some work in there. I know.
I have Bijan on fantasy teams. I get it, but
yeah. I know last year they had that close game against Kansas City early where it was like, oh, man, are they going to – that's when Kansas City was undefeated at the time. But come on, man. Matter of fact, I'm actually happy that they have the 5 primetime games.
Yeah.
Let them out there, make an ass of themselves. Yeah.
That's going to be what Saints fans can look forward to this year. I mean, I made that my number one game on the Saints schedule and look, we just talked about the Saints timetable and how it might take them a while to get their act together and stuff. Their first game is against the Falcons at home week 12 after a bye. Yeah. That'd be a good time to start to get your stuff together. Maybe the Falcons are like in first place. You knock them down a peg. You get the Superdome going with that. And then obviously week 18 at Atlanta. I mean, look, maybe the Saints are in playoff contention. Who knows? Maybe the stars align. But the second best thing would be, hey, the Saints are a team you don't really want to be playing right now, and they knocked the Falcons out of the playoffs. Exactly. And that's what you can look forward to on this schedule.
Oh, man, a man could dream. A man could dream. Oh, man. But now, just to finish off the schedule talk, something that you pointed out the other day was the amount of 3 o'clock games.
Weird. I've never seen anything like it. 4 of them. 4 3 o'clock home games. No, is it 4 home games at 3 o'clock? I think it is. Falcons, the one I just mentioned, versus Panthers, versus
the Patriots too.
Patriots and versus Buccaneers. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't look at the entire league schedule. Are any of those like marquee one with like Fox's number one team, Tom Brady, coming into town, maybe against the Buccaneers? That could be the case. Probably not the Patriots game. Probably not the certainly not the Panthers game. Yeah. Maybe the Falcons game. I mean, maybe 2 of those are showcase games and they didn't get prime time, but did they get like Fox is picking this as like, or are they like hey, we have to have 2 games in the 3 o'clock slot and you guys are the other one? It really feels kind of like that. But usually those are the West Coast games. So I thought that was very weird.